It's time once again for another episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Being brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now, here's your host for today's episode.
All right, Rich Casanova here for another exciting episode of the Buckhead Business Show, being brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association. And Michael Moore, our co-host, is calling in remotely.
He's out remote today. He's way in South Fulton County. I just finished up a great Aerotropolis meeting this morning with lots of good stuff going on in our city. And I guess the Aerotropolis will be encroaching on Buckhead very soon.
Really?
As those planes fly over.
We're going to have some flyovers, not live during the show, though, right?
That's right.
Is that your helicopter on the helipad landing right now?
That may be it. Maybe you listen to the blades, count the number of people and footsteps on the roof. They're coming to see you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I heard. Here it is. So Michael Moore's landing on our building. Yeah, no one saw that coming. Yeah. All right. So so all seriousness aside, so Michael joining us remotely from Buckhead, and actually in Atlanta. You were at the airport, the Aerotropolis meeting. You said.
Down at the Aerotropolis meeting at the Georgia International Conference Center. We just wrapped up about 3 hours of good information and kind of an annual event to give an update on what's going on from all the way from Portia all the way to Foxhall Plantation over to Douglas County line. All that things along the corridor, all those things good, which are providing more growth for the airport, and of course that means more growth for Buckhead and more growth for the rest of Georgia.
Absolutely,
so we're excited.
Yep. We're excited, and we're live from our Pro Business Channel studios with our $1 billion Buckhead view, as we like to say. So let's get right into it. Introduce our guest joining us here on the show, Cherie Morris, and a practicing attorney from the law office of Cherie Morris, LLC, right here in Atlanta. And you're the principal attorney?
I am.
All right, so we're going to learn a little bit more about your practice here in just a minute. But before we jump into that, so a little bit of your background. You're an undergraduate degree from Howard University and finished
Loyola.
Loyola. I was going to say there's a...
No one can ever say that right.
Off your tongue there, Rich. Loyola.
That's what I was going to say. Thank God we have a co-host here today, yeah. And that's the University of New Orleans College of Law. And you've moved back to your hometown of Jackson, Mississippi, began practicing law, passing the bar in 2012, became a resident of Georgia 2013. So how you liking Atlanta, or Georgia and Atlanta so far?
I like it. I've been coming to Atlanta since I was a kid. I had family here, so it was always home number 2 for me.
Okay. And your husband is joining us here in the studio?
Yes.
Off air, your media mogul, right?
Yes.
I think he's in part for making this possible, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if anything goes wrong, whatever, for legal reasons, we have to throw him under the bus, yeah. All right, so welcome to the show in the studio. So before we jump in again to what keeps you occupied on a daily basis, tell us a little bit about your background besides what we know on your bio, as far as traveling or family or that kind of thing.
Well, I always like to start off telling everyone about myself, a little bit about why I wanted to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I would say...
That was my next question, but go ahead.
Well, it kind of ties into who I am
yeah.
and what I do. When I was 9 years old...
Oh, come on.
I knew I wanted to be a lawyer at 9.
Wow.
And I would say my inspiration was Claire Huxtable from
Oh, yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, nice.
So I knew I wanted a job where I wanted to wear pretty outfits.
Right, yeah.
So
wow.
I liked what she did on TV, and I said, ooh, that's what I want to do. And it just actually kind of came natural as I grew up, that I was always into debate club. I was on student council. I did mock trial. In high school, I did it in college. I did it in law school. So it kind of came out. Everything that I wanted to do kind of stemmed from that. So that's really like me. Like I love to be out defending people and just talking to people. Right. And I met my husband in high school. So we're high school sweethearts.
Alrighty.
We've been together for almost 13 years in January. Been married for 4. So he's been we grew up together. I like to say we grew up together. So we've been through everything. I have 3 siblings, 1 older sister, 2 younger brothers.
Okay.
My 2 brothers live here in Atlanta with me. My sister's still in Mississippi with my mom. I have 7 nieces and nephews.
Wow.
And I would say all 7 of them think they are my children.
Right, nice. That's the best kind of kids to have, yeah.
Exactly. You get to play with them and do
Send
everything
them
and
off
dress
their
them
own-
up
yeah.
and send them on home.
Right, yeah.
So that's really the background of me and what I
Okay.
do, my story.
Well, I know you mentioned Claire Huxtable as your inspiration. I know, Michael, your inspiration was Norm from Cheers, right?
That's right, my buddy Norm. He's always paying attention. You got it. And adding comments, which I do for you every day, Rich.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody in the studio was old enough to know that. I guess in reruns, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rerun, what is it? Is it Hulu or Saturday night or whatever? You get to see it free now on some of these channels out there.
Yeah, or there's this thing called YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
YouTube. They're real special. Are you on YouTube today, Rich?
They asked me not to go on there anymore. Yeah.
Anymore.
Right. So,
Anymore.
yeah. I'm the only
are
person
just too
cease and
fabulous
desist,
for,
yeah.
for a screen. That's
Yeah.
why you're on radio. I
Yeah, for
appreciate
legal
that.
reasons. Yeah. So let's get back to our guest, Michael. How about that?
Yeah, go right on.
So what does your day look like? What area of law do you practice? Start with that.
I practice family law
Okay.
and personal injury.
Okay.
So on a day-to-day basis, you can find me most of the time in the office if I'm not in court, drafting paperwork, talking to clients. I give a lot of free consultations just because I believe that sometimes people just want information.
Right.
They're not really sure if they even have a case. And a lot of times most lawyers won't talk to them if they don't, provide $100 for a 30-minute consult or
Right.
$200. So I do offer a lot of free consults. I enjoy talking to people and helping people. So that's where most of my time is.
Well, from a business perspective, it kind of makes sense, right? Because it allows both parties to kind of screen or filter and figure out if it's a good fit or not.
Exactly.
Before you get into, because once you start the billing process, then you're somewhat obligated to kind of continue the process, right?
Exactly.
Whereas you can say, nothing personal, it's just business. This is not going to work out, right?
And it's very difficult.
It's not a good fit.
It's very difficult for us lawyers to get off of cases.
Right,
So
yeah,
it's not something that we can say, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, go away.
Right.
We can't do that.
Well, yeah, because once you've started that process, right? Yeah, like we couldn't just it'd be a little awkward to ask you to leave the studio right now, right?
Right.
In the middle of conversation, right?
Conversation.
That's why we have you send in.
I can just see Sherry now laughing them to the door.
Right, yeah. Well, he has her husband here, and he could probably take me in a New York minute here. So yeah.
I was going to say Dexter is probably the bodyguard figure. He probably just comes in the office on cue.
Are you watching? You're watching this on Facebook, and you see what I'm talking about. Yeah. Don't mess with him. Yeah.
He's
All right.
a sweetheart.
Don't mess with Dexter. He's always good to have. Well,
Okay.
Sherry, you brought up an interesting point about consultations and working with people. What's your best source of referral other than a personal referral from a previous client? How are you developing your business overall, Phoenix Boulevard there?
Well, I would say thanks to my marketing genius over here, we are heavily utilizing Facebook. We do utilize Yelp. We pay for a paid advertising service on Yelp. We're doing Google marketing, Craigslist marketing. I would say from the most part, outside of personal leads, the most business I've gotten is actually from Facebook.
Wow.
So on my Facebook page, I have my business page on
Right.
there. I do bi-monthly videos
Okay.
of just giving out some information. I did 2 on family law. So basically, I was talking about child support, talking about how to have conversations with your lawyer about personal matters. I did one on personal injury, one on real estate and how it affects divorcing and things like that. So it's been very helpful. I've gotten a lot of clients, a lot more leads actually from doing those videos because people are seeing that, it's someone that I can get to really quickly.
Right.
And, these days, everybody likes a quick response. So just a little Facebook message goes really far
Yeah.
and fast.
That's very interesting. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say, in terms of, as you said, servicing your clients, so talk about, because family law versus real estate law versus all the other kinds of law is very difficult to kind of keep separate. I know you're obviously you and your husband share a lot of time in the process of developing relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the length of time you think a law engagement that relationship's going to continue, regardless whether there's billing involved. You keep up with your clients, I'm sure. Talk about some of those fun success stories.
Yes.
of the friendships.
Well, I would say family law is actually one of those areas where you can absolutely build a great friendship with your clients, because you're really into their personal life. Like, you know what they do, how they do it, when they do it, who they do it with. You know about their finances.
This is a family show here.
Yeah. You know about their children. You get to know birthdays, and you get to know significant events in their lives. So you kind of become invested. You know about their children. You get to know birthdays.
Sorry. I was pulling up, speaking of Facebook, yeah. I didn't realize the audio was on there, yeah.
Yeah, so you kind of get really invested with your children. And I would say one of my clients that we just recently did her divorce. She has been wonderful because, she was in a situation where she didn't really have any family in the area that she was in. So she was absolutely, at her wit's end. And when she came to me, she didn't know what else to do. And so I was very thankful that I could be a beacon for her and to give her some hope and some inspiration to, kind of carry on. And we're still good today. That she's referred different clients to me today. So that's really how the clientele business works, especially in family law, because once you get that lawyer that's going to feel like your friend, your family, and I like to tell all of my clients, when you sign with me, you really are a part of my family. So you're not just treated as a client, someone that I talk to whenever there's time, to go to court or money to be paid. We have regular conversations about how was your day today? What happened today? Is everything fine? Are you hanging out with the kids today? Tell me what the kids did. So things like that. So I really get to know them, and they really appreciate that more so than just going to someone and paying their money, and then they just get a service and then they're done with them.
Yeah, this phenomenon of Facebook and social media, but I think you're onto something, or you kind of cracked the code a bit, right? Because I have a friend, or a business coach, used to say it's what we call a BFO. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but it's called the blinding flash of the obvious, right? But if everybody's on Facebook, and so and you interact with them, but doing those videos or doing that online presence. It goes back to that initial thing of that consultation, but this is like a virtual consultation even before the first interaction takes place, right? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Is that they can kind of screen you, not in a good or bad way, but just feel like this is a good fit,
Right.
And in business or relationship, whatever, it needs to be kind of a two-way interaction and so forth. So they can kind of get a sense of like, okay, this is somebody I can relate to. She's relating to my problem that I have. She's obviously helped people in my situation. And so they can kind of do a vetting process beforehand.
Exactly.
And so in theory, before they even reach out to you, it's like it's likely that they're going to be a potential good candidate.
Exactly.
Right?
They kind of already made up their mind.
Yeah. That they can relate to you, and then on the other hand, they can reach out to you quickly, like on you said the Facebook chat and so forth.
Yes.
So I'm sure other people do that, and obviously most businesses are on Facebook, but to do that in advance and be proactive about it, that's an interesting strategy.
Yeah, I did.
Who gave you that idea?
Well, I did lots of research.
Take credit for it. Yeah,
I did lots of research before I even opened the business.
Yeah.
Because I knew that marketing was going to be a big thing because I didn't have a large budget.
Right.
So I wanted to take advantage of some of the things that I already utilize in my everyday life, like social media, Yelp, and Google, stuff like that. Something that I rely heavily on, so I know others can relate. And my husband has a lot of I can't take all the credit. He has definitely helped me a lot, especially with bringing ideas and basically keeping me on track. If I haven't done a blog or video in so long, he said, you haven't done it. You haven't done it. It's been 2 weeks. You need to schedule it. You need to get it out there. Yeah. So he's been great with that. Actually, a lot of the things that we've done have been really self-taught.
Okay.
So YouTube is amazing.
All
YouTube will teach you how to do everything.
Right.
I mean, like building websites, creating a marketing plan, things like that. And he's been responsible mainly for the website. He basically taught himself how to build the website. Yeah. So updating all the content and everything like that is not something I have to go to a third party and say, hey, look, I need to get this out. I need it by such and such date. He's really great at that. So
Is this his full-time gig, being your your PR person and wearing all those hats? Yeah.
It's actually not his full time, but I'd say it's half full time.
Half full-time, yeah.
Because he still has to do a lot.
That's pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we work well together, so it's really good. You know, he lets me do what I want to do and stay in my lane, so he doesn't interfere with the legal side and, you know, me being an attorney. And so I like that.
That was kind of my next question, because we do several legal shows in here in particular, and one of the common threads seems to be that especially when we invite a lawyer on the show, it's often very difficult to find. They don't have any online presence. They don't have a Twitter account or even a Facebook or whatever, right? And they're kind of stealth. Mm-hmm. But that leads to my next question. What about compliance issues? Are you ever concerned about something being shared that you put out on the webosphere, and compliance issues or legal issues?
I will say this. When I tell everyone that knows me will tell you that I'm the most ethical person that they know. Yeah. So anything that goes out definitely comes through me first.
Right. Okay.
So and then I have like a short list of things. Okay, this is what you can post. This is what you can't post. If it's this, don't do that. And if there's any question, he comes to me. I also have a cousin she's actually in school to do marketing now. So she kind of does some of the tweeting and some things like that. So she also comes through me first before we post anything like that. So I have the final say as to what goes out.
But are you ever just concerned about when you're just recording a video and having a conversation that there could be something in there that could be misconstrued later down the line, or is that not an issue?
Well, the way I do my videos, I prepare ahead of time to what I say, so I know what's being said. And then I ask people, you know, if they want on-air answers to submit questions beforehand. Okay, yeah. So that I can know, you know, what to do. And then for the most part, I would say in our field, our advertising laws are pretty cut and dry. Right. So we know what we can and cannot do. Okay, yeah. And basically, I would say for the most part, as long as we give a disclaimer, this does not create an attorney-client relationship. Right. This is just free legal advice, and you know, you can't take it to be the law, right? Yeah. Then we're pretty much covered. Yeah. So we have a blanket get out of jail free card on advertising. Nice.
Because both of our legal shows I'm thinking of, in their pre-recorded intro and outro for the show, they have the disclaimer bumpers on both ends or whatever. Yeah. So okay, so y'all got that. You got that figured out. Yeah. So we've talked about some genius marketing ideas and how well things are going. Let's flip the table here and find out, what challenges do you run into or roadblocks with your business?
Well, I would say for me, because I'm starting out, I get a lot of questions and things that I would say maybe that I'm not well prepared to handle. Right. And I would say well prepared on maybe like a finance kind of standpoint, because some lawsuits really require a big firm budget. Right. Yeah. And I would say, especially with the personal injury side, when you take on the insurance company, you're going to have, you know, you're ordering medical records and you're paying for expert witnesses and depositions and things like that. So some of those things can get really costly. Right. So for me, it's like sometimes I have to add in another partner. Right. And I have two that I usually use on a regular basis to say, you know, kind of be co-counsel with me. Right. So that we can share the expenses. Yeah. So it's a challenge, but I found a solution for it that's not as challenging. But of course, you know, I want to be able to handle it all on my own. So I'm getting, you know, the more experience I get, the more clients I get, the bigger my budget will be.
Yeah. Speaking of big budget law firms, I remember when I heard the first time that I think it's King & Spalding here in Atlanta. They handle a number of accounts, but they have 150 of their attorneys. 150 are assigned to just one account.
Yeah.
Right?
It can be that way.
But it's crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure it's King & Spalding, but of all their attorneys, 150 full-time, that's all they handle is one single account, which is Coca-Cola. And so, but it's mind-boggling, because if hypothetically, if there's a truck carrying the product in Istanbul that has a fender bender, the phone rings here in Atlanta. Yep. And the ripple effect, the vending machine that has a problem, you know, but meanwhile, Michael Moore, you still there? We may have lost. I think that's why he was calling in a minute ago here. So Now, what's a good day look like for you? What's a win, I guess, yeah.
A win is in court, getting my clients exactly what they want. And I would say it's not necessarily in court, because we could do it by settlement via mediation, or, we could just be negotiating and get a really good negotiation. But the win is always to make sure the client is satisfied and getting exactly what they want. Sometimes they get exactly what they want. Sometimes they have to, I have to kind of tell them what you want is not really realistic.
Right.
And just kind of get them to a happy place where they're like, okay, that's more realistic and I like that, so I'll get that. So win is always for the client and making sure that they're happy when they leave my services.
Right. So what's next on the horizon? What's the future look like?
Well, I've always had a dream of being a multi-state firm.
Okay.
So I'm barred in 3 states already. And
barred, when you say that, you mean in a good way, right? Because I'm barred. I'm barred on YouTube and a couple other states. Yeah.
No, barred means I'm licensed.
Legal, right? Okay, yeah,
legal.
licensed. Yeah.
Yes, I'm licensed.
For layman's reasons, you may want to say licensed. Yeah,
I'm licensed to practice law in Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi.
Okay.
I would like to get a couple more in the future, but I don't know.
I'm thinking Florida, like for South Beach or whatever. Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, your husband,
Florida's in there. Yeah. Tennessee's in there, and the Carolinas are in there. Just the whole Southeast region is in there. So I would like to have a presence, like a big law firm. I don't know if you heard of Adams and Reese. They're like a Southeast regional firm. So they have offices in New Orleans. They have offices in Mississippi. They have one here in Atlanta that's more of a satellite office. But they're a big firm, or Southeast firm. So I kind of see my business as modeling that. So I want to be multiple offices, have multiple attorneys, different states, things like that. So I want to be that big firm one day.
And then go international to Australia, the Cayman Islands, or somewhere. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm trying to
Costa
get to
Rica.
Australia.
Yeah. We'll open your Costa Rica studio. We'll have a studio there for your practice. Yeah. We'll get you in all kinds of trouble internationally. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of other states, is it true? Like, there's a couple of states that are very difficult. Like, we have to do a franchise show, and it seems like no matter what the business model is, whether it's a franchise or legal issue or a patent or getting for tax reasons, there's a couple of states that are very user friendly and some that are not. Like New Jersey seems to be, or what is it? Not Rhode Island, but Delaware. I think.
Delaware,
right?
That's where all the businesses go to incorporate.
What's up with that?
Well, Delaware has, and I'm just going back to my law school,
right?
law school class.
Yeah.
So Delaware, from what I understand, has the most friendly business taxes. Okay. And business incorporation. So they're usually cheaper.
Right.
You get a lot more tax breaks if you incorporate in Delaware. And it's a third thing. I think it has something to do with their registered agent. So they're just more business friendly. Yeah. And I think a lot of states now are trying to model after Delaware because they see an influx of companies going to Delaware, so they kind of want the same business. So a lot of states are moving towards that. But yeah, from my experiences, Delaware has just been cheaper, less taxes, things like that.
Yeah, and I know you're not in that space as far as business law, litigation, and so forth, but I've also heard the flip side to Delaware is that you can't just, people, do that knee-jerk and just get their LLC up there, but you have to have an actual presence and you have to have been doing business at some point or whatever, So people can kind of get caught in that trap potentially. All right, so you're going southeast and then take over the world is next. And then, so what would you attribute your, other than maybe something you've already mentioned, what would you attribute your current success to in your business?
Well, I would say, honestly, it's just been me being out there, me being a good person. Okay. I always believe in do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So I've always, I like to help people out. I don't like to, BS people or give them the runaround or try to take their money. So I definitely don't want to be known as that shysty lawyer. I know lawyers have a bad rep, but we're not all bad.
Right,
and I like to have the idea that a lawyer can be just as diligent, just as fierce, just as strong for you and argue for you and go to bat for you, but at the same time not be not be shady.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah.
Like I can do everything over the table and be just as much as a shark as the next person that was going to take all your money.
Well, it's called taking shortcut in business, right? So you might win a few times, but eventually it's going to catch up to you.
It's going to catch up to you.
Right, yeah.
So in my experience, it's just been, like I said, most of my referrals have come from family members and people that know me in the business. So they like who I am as a person, and they wouldn't mind recommending anyone to me because they always say, well, I know she's going to take care of you, and she's going to do whatever it is that she can, whether it's, like some people can't pay a $6,000 retainer up front. So they just can't go to some lawyers. And so they'll refer them to me, and they're like, oh, well, she's flexible. She's reasonable. You can work out payment plans, things like that. So I try to be as amendable as possible so that I can get as many clients as I can and not just leave people hanging.
So, Cherie, you're saying a lot of business comes from family members. So you have a lot of your family has legal issues, or
well, no,
any names come to mind? Yeah, no, don't answer that.
They know
that was
people
me.
that have legal issues.
That was me trying to get you in trouble. Yeah, so she didn't fall for that one. Yeah,
no.
Just one name, Aunt Betty or anybody. Yeah, no. So, all right. So before we get in trouble, we're gonna need to wrap things up here. We're almost out of time. So, how would folks reach out to you and contact you?
Okay, well, you can contact me lots of ways.
Okay.
You can email me. My email is Cherie@CherieMorrisLaw.com, and Cherie is spelled Shari. So that's Shari at Cherie, Shari, MorrisLaw.com, all one word. You can reach me via phone, 678-903-3838. And you can check out my social media pages. I'm at Cherie Morris Law on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Credit card, social security number, anything else? Any other digits you want to give out? Yeah.
No, I can't give out all of that.
That's a good call. Yeah. It's too early. Yeah. I wasn't going to catch you on that one. Yeah. All right. So, thanks again, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I enjoy your spirit, what you're doing. I think you're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
If you continue doing that, as I'm sure you will, much success will come your way, and we'll say, oh yeah, I knew her before she took over the whole Southeast and ran for office and was the next big thing.
Well, I receive all of that.
All right, absolutely. We'll see you next time on the Buckhead Business Show.
All right.
All right.